All right. So from today we'll be starting the course, right? We'll take 5 minutes time. Any questions you have, guys? Anyone regarding any questions you have? I hope you all have gone through our demo. That is important. That is very important. Okay. So
Sir, it is possible for AWS and DevOps for searching job.
what is that?
It
Is
is
it?
possible for AWS and DevOps with outside of searching for jobs or any other course learning.
No. See, this course is quite good, man. I think this is more than enough.
Okay, thanks.
Uh, See the way this has been structured.
Okay.
This is a DevOps course, and we cover even AWS DevOps also. What is the meaning of covering AWS DevOps is AWS you'll be learning the services,
Okay.
and in demo I was telling about the CI/CD part, right? So even that CI/CD part we'll see it on AWS also. So there are two ways.
Okay.
So, one is we'll see with Jenkins, and we'll even see AWS has some services to configure the CI/CD called as code build, code commit, and code deploy. So we'll be
Yeah.
covering those stuff also. So the way the structure of or rather the syllabus is quite good. Okay, and it is very relevant also. This is what you will be doing. Okay. I think every line in the syllabus is important, and this we can do it quite easily, comfortably. Okay. So the way you will have to do this is, see, I will try to go, whatever is there in the syllabus, everything line by line, and I think it will be easy for you to learn also. I'll try to put it that way. And your job is that whatever we discuss in the class, you will have to practice those things. Um Even in during demo also, I told when I say practice, it should be a very kind of a conscious kind of a practice, meaning that not to sit for hours and hours and hours and do that. No need to take that kind of an approach. But the way you have to do it is whatever I do, you should do that, and while you are doing that, you should really think why we are doing it. So every topic, the way you have to think is why we are doing it. And tomorrow, once you start working, pretty much these are the things what you will do. These are the things what you'll be doing it. It's a very decent course, man. It's a very syllabus is quite good. You do it neatly, you'll get a lot of confidence, and it should be good. Now
Yeah,
it doesn't matter whether you are searching for a job in India or somewhere overseas. This remains true everywhere.
okay. Is there any coding required, or what's the prerequisites to the DevOps?
See, coding, as I told them also, it is required, but don't think the coding is the coding what general coding you do with the traditional programming languages. Here, tools like Ansible and Terraform, two things you should really learn good, and they are very, very easy. Man. Those are declarative languages,
Okay.
and anybody can write it down. You don't need any of your programming language knowledge or concepts. Even if you have those things, it's okay. But still, these tools, everybody have to learn it from point zero. Meaning that it will be new for each one of you, and it is very easy, very, very easy. Uh,
And Are we covering Docker's, Kubernetes, and Terraforms
We
in
are,
this
we are.
course?
Yeah, of course, of
Completely,
course.
completely, right?
Yes, 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 yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
And throughout the course, the more you ask, the more you get. So that is how you should see. Okay, I mean, when I say more you ask, it's not something out of things, but at least whatever we are discussing. You have any question? Feel free to ask me.
okay.
I
Is
think
this uh, is this course sufficient to work in real time?
more than sufficient actually.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
okay. So the way we will, all right, guys, I think we'll get started. So the way we will go is like this. Today and tomorrow, just give me time today and tomorrow to build some fundamental concepts. Okay. And all throughout, I will use most of the time, this is the style how I do it. So I have a marker with me, and whatever I have to teach, I'll be concept. I'll explain it here. Then I'll connect to the lab, and I'll show you.
Okay.
Each one of you will be setting up your own lab initially on your laptops. Later, all our practicals will start doing it on cloud. So for 2 days, I'll speak little bit about some very, very fundamental things. So, a little bit about why Linux is and what kind of Linux we'll use. All that. I think whoever knows also it should be helpful to you.
Hello.
Yeah.
What will be the system requirements for all these tools that we
I'll
will be
come.
using?
I'll come. All right, guys. Okay. Give me some 30, 40, 45 minutes time. Okay. Later you can ask your questions. So the very first topic what we'll be doing is we will start with fundamentals of Linux. Okay. I will not bore you. We'll try to do it exactly whatever is required for you once you start working. Once I do this Linux stuff, immediately, or rather, once I finish your Linux part, we'll do a tool called Ansible. Okay. For these two things, what I'll do is I'll make each one of you on your laptop. I'll have each one of you create VMs on your laptop. Okay. And these two topics, you will practice it on your laptop. You will get it out, Ravi. Why is it that you are making us create VMs on laptop and doing it? Can't we go directly and start doing it on cloud? We can, but there is a reason why I make everyone do like this. Okay, I'll tell you what that is. Once this is done, then what we'll do is we'll do AWS and we'll do Terraform. Once this is done, then we'll go and do Docker and Kubernetes. Once Docker and Kubernetes is done, okay, here we'll finish even shell also. Let's do it off, guys. Shell scripting is there, that also will finish off here itself. So that you can learn it as set by set. Once this is done, then we'll come and do Jenkins. And in AWS, 3 topics I will leave it off. I will not cover it here. I will do that when I come here. Those are code commit, or let me put it as just code build. This is the final thing we'll do. Okay. So while doing this part, the idea is that in case tomorrow uh, you work in a company who are in a kind of a We call that as an hybrid cloud kind of an environment. What is the meaning of that is that company is having its own data center. It means they have their own building and they are having their servers there, and they have they have few applications running on cloud also. Okay, so here the idea is that if you have your own data center or how do you connect to the system, those kind of understanding you'll get with this tool Ansible. What you will get is, if I give you a system, okay, with OS installed, okay, how to configure anything on the system. Let's say you want to install Oracle, or let's say you want to install WebLogic, you want to install WebSphere, or anything to that matter, anything that is running on top of your system, you will learn how to automate using Ansible. Here you will learn how to work on AWS cloud. So on AWS cloud, how you create your machines and all that. This is very, very popular, guys. This is very, very popular, Terraform. Okay, Terraform Ansible. By and large, you go to any kind of company in market today, these two 100% they'll ask you. Here, using this tool, you will learn how to automate all this stuff. And this Docker and Kubernetes, the focus is more about creating something called containers. Okay. And you can ask me any of questions, because a little bit I am known for these topics. And CI/CD is what you will learn with these two concepts. So very, very clear. A whole syllabus, if you break it down, this is what is the syllabus. So whatever I have written on board, if you make yourself comfortable doing these concepts by end of the course, then you're good. You're good. When I say good, you will be able to clear your interviews. Clearing interviews, anyways, the way the market is there, you should be able to do it quite easily. Not just clearing the interviews, you should even feel comfortable when you start working, right? And how do you get that comfortness? You get this comfortness once you understand the concept, and once you make your hand a little bit dirty practicing whatever we do in the class. Okay. So your first point should be, whatever we discuss in the class, you should do it thoroughly. Only then, if you want to do any additional stuff, do it. Okay. Before that, stick to the class. Whatever we discuss in the class, just stick to that and practice those things. Then because there are a lot of resources to learn these topics, right? So don't waste time in going through these videos, that book notes and all that. Do that if or later. But while we are on the course, your target should be every day whatever I do, you should be able to do that right after the class. Or else, if you have a busy day, at least on the weekends, spend time and try to finish what are we discuss in the class. I think you'll be getting the videos for each class, so keep it in a safe place, and whenever you get it out, go through the whole video again. Okay, so this is the flow, right? This first, this second, this third, this fourth. In resume also you can always put like this, and this actually covers the whole ecosystem, the way how we are you join a company, how your environments are set up. This is what are the four things everybody will be using it. So you can decently put 2-3 points on whatever on this, few points on this, few points on this, few points on this, and it should be a very good resume. Okay. So today what we'll do is, let me give a little bit understanding on okay, one other thing, right? See, for the first two topics what we discuss here, okay, the idea is basically, so what is that I told you, if you have seen demo, I told you that DevOps basically at an implementation level, or when you implement it, it is basically only two things. One is infrastructure as code, and one is CI/CD, right? So the initial part of the course, the focus is on this infrastructure as code, where you will be learning how to create code for your infrastructure, or to see it other way, how you automate your infrastructure creation using a code. So how do you write a code for that? So that is where the tools like Ansible and Terraform are used. So initial part of the focus is on this. The second part of the course, the focus on this. Okay. So first you need to understand this. Once you get a decent understanding of this, by the time I finish your Terraform, you should will get a very decent understanding. Once that is done, then we'll go and do this CI/CD stuff. All right. For now, leave this CI/CD. Just think about this infrastructure as code. With that, let me give you a little bit understanding. So let me give you a little bit understanding first how this whole infrastructure has changed, in last 15 years or 20 years. How it has changed. Let me give you a brief idea on that. All right. Any quick question on this part, the way we'll be doing our course? Are you all with me the flow, right?
I
How
have a
we'll be
couple of
doing it?
questions,
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
that's okay to ask. Hi, I was
Yeah,
just wondering,
quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
The questions are, you said you're going to teach us the Terraform, Docker, Kubernetes, and all this stuff. Will this be like in depth or just, on the top layer, the base layer?
See, basically, on the surface, kind of learning is of no use. Okay. So I would say that it is in depth, and in fact, it will be quite, practical oriented. Okay. See, one, uh, Docker, Kubernetes, or AWS, or Terraform. The reason why, the reason, guys, be on mute, guys, please.
Sure.
See, the reason why, guys, be on mute, guys. Okay, let me mute all. See, I'm audible, right? When I muted it, I'm audible, right, guys?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
See
you are.
okay, yeah. See that the trick is this. I didn't note down the name who asked, but the trick is this. See the trick why we'll be able to do Terraform, we'll be able to do Ansible, we'll be able to do Docker, Kubernetes, everything in a course. And I tell you that we'll be doing it quite nice, quite good, and it should be more than enough. Why will, or how is it possible that so many tools will be able to do, if not so many, at least those popular kind of tools which we use, how is it possible to do it in stipulated kind of time? The reason is this, guys. See, the moment you learn Ansible, right? The moment you learn decently Ansible, in fact, in very first lecture I give, you'll get a complete understanding about Ansible. Once you understand Ansible and then you start doing your Terraform, you will do it very, very easily. The reason is the kind of mindset, the kind of understanding of concepts of Ansible. It is a similar mindset you need to write code in Terraform also. Okay, so it will be easy for you. So this is like an natural progression. The moment you do cloud, then you'll ask me, hey Ravi, if I have this kind of requirement, then so you will start thinking, little bit more effectively how we should deploy our applications and other thing. Right at that moment, your containers will come in. So meaning what I'm trying to tell is that when you learn tools in a sequence, you will understand easily and you will be able to do it very easily. But lot of times what happens, especially people who are already working and this thing, they sometimes don't really understand the tool itself properly. Let's say you are working in a company having all these things. They probably don't even understand Ansible properly. They'll start Terraform. Okay, they'll say, "Oh, Terraform. I'm reading Terraform. I'm reading Terraform. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. They'll tell I'm doing Terraform, Terraform, Terraform. Then they'll so started learning Docker and other things. So what I'm trying to say is, when you learn it in this sequence, you'll really understand, the flow, how you have to do, and it is quite easy to do it. When you try to do it individually, it is like a complete learning, meaning that if you don't do Ansible, if you start doing Terraform, half a time you won't even understand why you are doing Terraform, or why you need Terraform also you'll not understand. Until you do this part quite decently, you go directly start in doing Docker and Kubernetes, you will not understand why are we getting into these containers, what is the use of these containers. Is it that everybody or every company should use it? Why is it that now everybody are talking about containers? You know, if that part you get a clarity, why people are getting into containers, then you can understand it. So point is, that point you get a clarity when you do this point clearly. This point you will get a clarity when you do this point clearly. You see that? So a quick answer to the question is that yes, we'll be doing it quite good, quite deep, quite practical oriented, with a kind of a practitioner mindset. Uh, so yeah, so I mean, it should be more than enough, guys. In fact, we're
Is there
quite
any
decent. Yeah.
yeah Groovy and Python is required for learning DevOps?
See, Groovy scripting is not at all required in any of these tools. Okay, Groovy scripting is required here. Okay, in Jenkins.
Okay.
So in Jenkins, what happens is, when you write down your pipelines, there are two ways how you can do it. Pipeline is nothing but, you'll understand when we go there, it's nothing but some series of steps you want to do it. So one way is that in Jenkins, what happens is, you have a neat kind of a UI Jenkins has given. With that UI, you can configure what you want to do it. But that whole thing you want to automate, you will write down something called pipelines. You want to write your pipelines, there are two ways. One is you can write it using Groovy, or else Jenkins has another way called declarative way of writing. So what I will tell is, you don't need Groovy. What I will tell is, if you know Groovy, it's okay. Or your whole Groovy will be useful only at this point, nothing where else.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't know Groovy, also take it easy. I mean, I'll give you those fundamentals anyways. How easily you have to write it. You don't need Groovy scripting as such. Okay. No need of learning the whole language is absolutely not required.
Okay. Python.
Python, I think I answered this. See, Python, we will try to use it uh, in places where, let's say, you are doing some kind of a task, and the whole code you are written it with Ansible, and you have come to a point where you see that writing in Python, one particular task, writing in Python is easy. In those kind of scenarios, you can use Python, meaning that some task you are finding it a little bit difficult to do it with Ansible,
Okay.
and you see that the Python has a module for it to do it. So okay, let's do it in Python. But you can run that Python also from Ansible only. Okay, I'll explain those things. And I don't know. I think probably the question you asked, you didn't probably attend demo, uh, but Python also for DevOps, you should not learn any of the modules for your application deployment. No use. Okay, meaning that Python also you should learn it. Some simple things you should learn in Python, so that If tomorrow you want to use some module, how you can use it, that part if you learn, it is enough. No
Okay.
need to get into all your oops concept and all that, because as a DevOps guys, we don't need it. What generally happen is people think it's for DevOps Python required, and they start learning on Python. And if you focus more on Python, you'll become a Python developer, not a DevOps guy. Our idea is not to become a Python developer, but rather a DevOps guy who needs a little bit knowledge about Python. And as I told you, we will use Python in only those kind of cases where we see that writing or automating that particular task with Ansible, if it takes a little bit of more effort, and we feel that we can do it easily with Python, we'll do it. All that is required is in Python some very fundamental concepts of input output conditions, loops, and how to use modules. If I give you some module, uh, if you have to use it, how you can use it, if that part you will understand, enough, you are done. I'll tell you also, scenarios where you will use Python. It is little bit early for me to articulate it very clearly. Why little bit knowledge on Python would be helpful. But you don't need to do a deep dive. You should be able to do it very, very easily. Python, by the way, is very easy to do. Okay, but don't
Okay.
learn whole Python. No point. No point. Okay.
Okay. Are we covering whatever the required thing in Python in our course?
See, we didn't put it in syllabus, but what I'll do is maybe one session I'll do it on Python. I think with that you should get a decent one session, or maybe two sessions I'll try to do. Okay, uh, with with that I think you should be good.
Okay. Okay.
We didn't put it
And
in syllabus, but I think somebody asked me in the demo. Let's see now. Let me do 1-2 sessions on that. Okay. Yeah.
quick question. So all the tools which you're saying right now, is it based on AWS or can we use it on Azure DevOps as well or GCP?
Whatever tools we use, it has nothing to do with AWS. These tools you can use it on all your cloud platforms. Meaning you can use it in Azure, you can use it for GCP, you can use it for K3, on-prem, anywhere you can use it. These tools are not from AWS. These are an open source tools. You can use it across any cloud or on-prem environment.
One last question. Is Maven and SonarQube is also being taught, and how long is this complete course to be done?
No, see, uh, Maven, I'll give a brief idea about how to use Maven in the CI/CD stuff when I show you the example. Okay, so you don't need to even in the CI/CD part when we do the Jenkins, you don't need to be a master of Maven and writing all your the whole Maven stuff. You don't need to do it. Those all will be taken care by developers. But we'll do a brief kind of a discussion what the build tools are and how you have to configure those things on Jenkins, so that you understand tomorrow some Java based application is given to you. How you write a pipeline for that. I'll do a probably a half an hour kind of a lecture on Maven, and that should be enough. The reason is that, guys, please understand this. Okay, see, lot of places nowadays, if you see as a DevOps engineers who are coming, they come with a full set of knowledge and they do it. But 3-4 years back, the way it used to happen is whoever were there in a build and release kind of a teams were started being called as a DevOps guys, and they start writing your pipelines and all that, right? So they are basically from the build and release. It means only that CI/CD part. So previously they used to write all this kind of build tools, let it be Ant or Maven, and doing deployments and all that, right? You don't if you are already in that kind of an environment with that kind of a background and other things, then do little bit of deep into different build tools and all that. But otherwise, as a DevOps guys, you don't need to really do too much of your build tools and all that, because that is where always your developer will come in, and only he is the guy who knows your application and what dependencies are all there. But we should know, what is a pom.xml and those kind of stuff, and how you will configure those things in Jenkins. So those things I'll do it, because we have to take different scenarios there. One is the CI/CD, one is we should really learn how to do CI/CD for your Docker kind of applications and all that. But yeah, answer to that is that, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And also, is Helm charts being taught in the Kubernetes chapter?
Yes. In syllabus we didn't put it, but of course we'll see the Helm, because that is the package manager for your Kubernetes. So yes, I'll show you Helms.
One last question: how long is this course being taken to complete, like complete A to Z?
See, I'm thinking somewhere around 40 to 50 hours it will take. Okay, so because we are doing it every day, right? 1 hour, and sometimes maybe 10-15 minutes here and there. So keep your this thing for 2 months. Okay, so any interviews or anything you want to do after course, put it after 2 months. And this is a good time actually to learn, right? November, December, not. I think this is the time, and so that maybe by January or so, we can get into the market. But 2 months is mentally be ready for it. Okay, making sense?
Oh yes, it does totally. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Are you
Okay.
providing the videos also?
Yes. So video material, all that, you can talk to the front office guys. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. What we'll do now is, I think 30 minutes already done. Okay, give me 30 minutes more. So this part is the flow, how we'll do it, right? And as I told you, the initial part of the course focus is on infrastructure. Okay, the later part of the course focus is on CI/CD. Okay, so if you want to learn, or the tools whatever we learn, where I'll keep on using these words like VMs, on-prem, cloud, and all that. So let me give you a little bit understanding of that. Okay, all right. Just give me 1 minute, guys. I'll put my just give me 1 minute. I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys. So give me half an hour. So after that, you can ask your questions again. See, this session, my idea is to basically give you a picture of how the infrastructure has changed in last 10 to 15 years. Okay. And second point is to introduce you with the terms or 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 technical words which I'll be using throughout the course. So throughout the course, uh, whatever I start from now, I'll be using those words only. Okay. So you will not even find that I'll be using words which doesn't make sense. So it will go in a very, very, in a proper sequence. The whole course will go. Okay. See, I take a system. Okay. I take a system, or today I'll buy a system. Okay. So what do I have in system? You buy any computer, you'll have your processor, you'll have your RAM, you'll have your hard disk, and you have your motherboard and all that, right? So today I go to market, I buy a system. Whenever I buy a system like this, okay, this is what we call it as bare metal. Any time you read any documentation on DevOps related topics, if you see word bare metal, what is the meaning of that is it is a physical system. Okay. I take this system. If I have to use this system, then what is that I have to do? If I have to use the system, then you need an operating system on that, right? If operating system is not there, naturally, you cannot use your system, right? So what is the first thing you will do is you'll install an operating system. But there are a lot of operating systems there in the market, right? You have your Windows operating system also, you have, right? You have your Windows 10 or you have your Windows 2000. If I had to start it, you have some other kind of server versions of Windows called NT 2000, 2003, 2008 and all that, right? Okay. Similarly, you have OS like Linux, okay, even Solaris is there, AIX is there, HP Unix is there, and a lot of other stuff, right? What I'm trying to say here is this: you take a system and you install a server operating system on this system, then we can call this system as a server. What are the server operating systems? If you take Windows, all these are the Windows server operating systems. So based on the OS what you install on the system, you can call it either server or a workstation, or client, whatever you want to call it. What is workstation or a client? Kind of a system. If you install OS like your Windows XP, Windows 10 and all this, these are all the kind of a desktop kind of environments. So on that system, if you install Windows 10, then it becomes your workstation, meaning that it is a system from where, as a developer or as a user, you'll be working it. Point is this: whenever I use word server, don't think server means it has to be a huge system with lot of high resources and all that. It could be a very small system. Okay. The only thing that you have to make sure is that on this system, whatever you are taken, if you install a server operating system, then we can call it as a server. So what are the server operating systems? All these are all the server operating systems. Yeah. So I'll keep using word interchangeably, system, server and all that. Whenever I use word server, don't think that I'm talking about some huge stuff. I'm just telling that that system is having a server operating system running on it. Okay? So you keep using word server, right? That is what is the meaning of server. Whenever I say workstation or other things, I mean that on that system, you're 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 you are running a workstation kind of an operating system like Windows 10 or those things. That is a point one you should be very, very clear about. Now, why did I buy this server? If today I work in a company and I tell them that I need a server, okay, then they ask me, okay, what kind of a system you want? And I tell them I need some 4 CPUs, some 16 GB of RAM, 1 TB of hard disk, some specification I give, and they tell that this is the system I want. They buy the system for me, right? But why will they buy the system for me? Or they buy the system for me because I tell them on this system I want to run some application. Okay. So to buy this system, if you spend some 10 lakh rupees, okay, after that, you will hire a person who will do the installation of this OS and all that. That is also a kind of company spending to have that resource, right? Who will do all this work. But what is the value that company is going to get back, or what is the value that you are going to get back once you spend this whole amount is you will have an application running on this system. So you work for a company and the company has some 1,000 servers or 2,000 servers or 3,000 servers. Why we are setting up so many servers? Because we want to run some applications. So that for that applications to run, we are spending so much money to buy this and all that. Okay, so the critical thing is this. The critical thing is this, that how will you run your application? Those application could be some ERP based applications, or those could be some kind of e-commerce kind of a website. It could be, or it could be some kind of an application, right? So the value you get for the whole investment the company has done and of having so much labor uh, working on it, the ultimate value is that your application should be working properly. Guys, remember this word, okay? The whole point is you need to get your application up and running, right? This is what actually forms the basis for your containers, which you'll see later. But for now, this is it. See, till 2009, 2010, till that time frame, okay? Starting from, let's take it somewhere from 90s, mid of 90s, till 2009 and 10, any company you go, any company you see, all those enterprise kind of companies, for every application, they used to buy a system like this or a server like this. So that time, 2009, 10, that time, if you ask any kind of an admin, hey, how many servers do you have in your company? Uh, it was very, very common. People used to say, oh, we have 2 data centers. One data center we have 800 servers. One data center we have some 700 servers, 1,000 servers like that. The reason was that for every application to run, they used to buy one server and they used to run it. Right? So today, let's say I'm telling in time frame of 2009, 10 that time. You are with the, let's say I'm the guy, I'm the Linux guy there. A database manager comes to me and he tells me that he need to set up a database server, and he asked me to set up a server for him. Then what I do is I ask him, okay, what kind of system you want, and he'll tell, okay, this is what is my requirement. The requirement he used to tell, please catch this properly. The requirement what he used to tell is, see, I'm expecting that down the line, maybe after 6 months or 1 year, I'm thinking that 1,000 excuse me, 1 million transactions will happen. So I need a system which has some 32 GB of RAM. So that will be useful for me. Okay. So based on what he told, I'll buy a system, I'll install operating system, I will install, let's say if he's using Oracle database, I'll install Oracle and I'll hand it over to him. But the trick here is, what did he tell me? He told me that he needs 32 GB of RAM. And he expects that in a time frame of 1 year, the system will have around 1 million kind of transactions happening. For that to happen, he needed 32 GB. I went to the market and I brought that. Okay. So to buy this 32 GB of RAM, if I spend some 10 lakh rupees, and today I have set it up and given to him. Okay. Initially, let's say the people, that application has not yet become very popular and only 1,000 transactions are happening. Okay. Eventually, after a year, it might hit, let's say 1 million transaction. But initially, if it is started with 1,000, so what is the usage of RAM? Let's say I bought 32 GB of RAM, but initially, let's say I'm using only 8 GB. Okay. At the end of year or so, let's say I'll touch 32 GB. But initially, let's say only my database using only 8 GB of RAM. Meaning that till the end of the year, I bought something very big. I'm not using it completely, right? It is like you buy a very big bungalow, and you are using only one room in that. Okay, but you think that down the line 1 year, your family will grow and you need that kind of a house, so you are buying it right now itself. That is how it used to be. So always the kind of questions the architect you to ask is, what is the maximum thing you need? Okay. Based on that, they used to go to market and buy it. So if you anytime that time, at least that time, if you see the huge amount of servers with lot of capacity used to be bought, but usage used to be very, very less. I mean, eventually the usage would probably pick up, but at least the initially any new application, the usage was less, but just in the expectation that down the line the usage will go up, they used to buy a very high-end kind of systems. Okay. So one application, kind of one machine kind of stuff used to happen. So any new requirement comes in, it is like almost every time you go and buy a new server for them. What that made it is, it made your whole network very, very big. So you need to have a big space to keep all these servers. Okay. And that is where you use this word data centers and all that, right? So every big company used to have a huge kind of a room where there is a proper cooling and all that, and that is where they keep all these servers, and that is called your data center. What happened from 2008 or more profoundly from 2010 onwards is, well, they came with a concept called virtualization. What is virtualization is, you take a system, okay? You take a system. In one system, you can create multiple systems. How it happens is, the way you have installed OS here, okay? The way you have installed OS here, similarly, you take this physical machine, you will install OS here also. This OS is called as hypervisor. Okay? One company which is very popular for this kind of virtualization products is, there is a company called VMware. Okay, they have a product called EXXi, which we use it now. There are a lot of other products also, like Citrix. There is a company called Citrix. They have a product called Zen Server. Linux itself has a product called KVM, all that. But what I'm trying to say is, from 2009 onwards, this technology of virtualization people started adopting, where you take a system, within the system you can create multiple systems within the same system. For that to happen, what is the software you need is you need to install a software on your system which is called hypervisor. What is a market leader product in that is this product. There is a product called EXA which is like a market leader. You know. So people used to take this same system now, okay, this system what we brought. I'll install this hypervisor. Now I can create multiple systems in the same system, and each of this machine is called as VM, or it is called as a virtual machine. Okay. So for people whoever are using it, they will not come to know whether it is a physical system or it is a VM. Okay. But what is the meaning of a VM? VM means that it is not a physical system. It is created inside another system. Now, what is the advantage? And the adoption happened very fast. 2010, even now, if you see, you go to any big company, enterprise kind of a company, you see their data centers. It will almost be 100% virtualized. What is the advantage you get with this is, see, today I buy this system, I buy a system, I install this virtualization software. Virtualization software is called hypervisor. Once this is installed, I can create multiple VMs inside this, right? Now you take this. See, today, if same scenario, if a database manager comes to me and tells me, hey, we need a server to set up our database, okay? And I ask him the question, what is the kind of capacity you want? And if he replies to me that, see, we are expecting that down the line in an year, we are expecting that we need to do 1 million transactions every day or every hour or whatever it is, right? And for that, we need 32 GB of RAM. Same answer if he gives me, then I'll ask him, okay, 1 year down the line, it's okay. How much capacity do you need for next 6 months? Okay. And he says that for 6 months, our load will not be high. So, 16 GB is good for us. So now what I'll do is, if I bought the system, if this system which I which I bought here, if it is having, let's say, 32 GB of RAM, and a database manager has come to me, so I'll create a machine for him with 16 GB of RAM. Okay. And now one more testing manager comes to me and he tells me, Ravi, we need a system or we need a server to run some testing kind of a application. I ask him, okay, how much you need? And he says, I need some 4 GB of RAM. Okay, I give it to him. So 16.4 is 20. One more guy comes and let's say I give him some 10 GB RAM. I give it to him. Okay. So it means my system, which I am bought, is having 32 GB, and I have allocated this to all the three kind of guys, and it is working great. It means right from the day one, it's a value for money. I bought a big bungalow with 7 rooms. All the 7 rooms I've given it to somebody to use it. So it means there is, the money that you have spent, you're really making a value out of it, right? Let's say after 6 months, this database guy comes and says, hey, 16 GB, now we need to increase it to 32 GB. Then what? What happens in virtualization is, see, as I told you, you can create multiple systems, right? Each of this system, whatever you created on this physical system, right? On the OS, each VM is nothing but a file. What is the meaning is that you will create a virtual machine. You think that you created a machine and all that, okay? And you are working on it, everything fine. But on the OS, every virtual machine will be nothing but a file. It will be just one file. So you create a system, the system is nothing but just one file. whatever you can do on a file, all that you can do on your VM. What is that you can do on a file? We can copy a file, we can delete a file, we can move a file, right? Similarly, VMs also, you can copy it, you can delete it, you can move it. With that point now, what I'll do is, let's say I have one more system in my company, okay? Oh my God, what is this? Okay, so I'm having one more system in my company, okay, which is also virtualized, okay, which is also virtualized. So what I'll do, because I need to increase this VM, I need to free up some space. So whatever VMs I'm using, if I want, I can move it to other system. I move these two VMs to another system. Now this system is having a lot of free space, right? I can increase the capacity of the VMs. So VMs are elastic. It means you can increase the capacity. So now I'll say I'm allocating, let's say 30 GB to this VM. To free up the space, what did I do? I have moved the VMs to the other VMs onto the different system. So individual VM you can expand it. If you want, you can move the VM to other system, or if you want, you can delete it. You can just play around with your VMs, right? You see how much flexibility this has brought in. So what the way now it is there is that you go to any big company, and if they say that they are having on-prem, what is the meaning of on-prem is that they have their own data center. You will see that all the servers, leaving few exceptions, almost all the servers will be virtualized. It means today, if you want to create any system, rather than telling that I need, guys, can you go and buy a system for me? You will tell them, hey, can you create a VM for us? That is a common kind of word nowadays, right? You'll say, can you create a VM for us? Okay. So in that way, what we have done, because we are able to create multiple systems in the one system, if I'm having a data center where I had 100 servers before, now I can compress it to only 50 servers I need, right? Rest all 100 I can create it on these 50 servers only. You don't need to have such a kind of a huge data centers, right? You don't need to have like previously. It's not that every application one kind of a system. One, you buy a one decent big system, inside that you can create multiple systems, and those systems are called VMs, virtual machines. And this is the technology which has changed everything. This is the technology which is actually the in fact, the basis on which your cloud also works, which I'll come a little quick into that. But virtualization means this. Virtualization means you take a system, you will install a virtualization software. What you can do after that is you can create multiple systems within the same system. Okay. Now, if you tell me, Ravi, this concept looks good, this virtualization. I am working on my laptop. Can I create multiple systems within my laptop? Yes, that also you can do. So if this is your workstation or your laptop, where let's say you are having your Windows 10 or Windows XP or whatever it is, you can install virtualization software here also. Virtualization software is called as what, guys? It is called as hypervisor, right? So you install virtualization software, then you can create multiple VMs inside your laptop or your workstation also. But what is the popular product for virtualization on your laptops or desktops is there is a product called Oracle VirtualBox. This is the very popular one, and it is free. So if you install this Oracle VirtualBox on your system, you can start creating multiple systems on your laptop, and those are called as VMs. So if it is on your data center, what you will do, you will use a product like this. So what it will do, you will take a system, you will install this EXI, and you will start creating VMs and giving it to different teams. If you want to create VMs on your laptop or your workstation, then you can use a product like this. Okay. So how we will set up our lab is that I will have each one of you install this Oracle VirtualBox on your laptop, and we can create multiple systems or VMs on your laptop, and with that we can do the whole practice. Okay. I think we're getting out of time. Actually, I started with something else, but I think we have missed some 15-20 minutes time. But anyway, see, this is how I'll make each one of you create systems on your laptop, and initial part of the course, the whole practice, we'll do it here. Later we'll go to the cloud. Okay. Um, Actually, I want to get into cloud and explain what cloud is, but maybe I'll stop it here. What I have tried to explain in the last 15-20 minutes is this. See, till 2009 and 10, almost you go to any big company, it is almost like one application, one system kind of approach they used to take. Right? So any new kind of thing you want to work, they used to buy a server, and you install the application on that and you run it. But from 2008 and more so from 2010 and 10, once this virtualization concept came in, rather than taking rather than taking a system and giving it completely to one application, what people are doing, they are installing a hypervisor on that machine. What a hypervisor is? Hypervisor is a virtualization software. Once hypervisor is installed, you can create multiple VMs, and these VMs you can start using it. Similarly, if you want to create VMs on your laptop or desktop, for that also there is a virtualization software, quite a few, but the easy one to use or free one to use is Oracle VirtualBox. You install it on your laptop or desktop, and you can start creating your VMs. If this particular Oracle VirtualBox or this kind of virtualization is not there, and I want to show you the practicals on 3 systems, then what would I have done? I would have told each one of you, guys, buy 3 systems, connect those 3 systems at your home, and the way I am doing the practice, you also should do it. Nowadays we don't need that approach, right? Why? All the 3 systems I can create it in one system only, and I can start using it. Right? And now you go to any company, this is how you will see it. The next thing is basically the cloud. Okay. We'll see that maybe tomorrow. I'll discuss about it, but 3 takeaway points, man. Whenever I use word bare metal, I mean it's a physical system. Whenever I use word server, it means the system is having a server operating system running on it. Third thing, whenever I am saying that it is a VM, what is the meaning of that? Is this VM is also a machine only, but it is running inside another physical system. But as an end user, it doesn't matter for us. I mean, we don't really care whether it's a physical system or it's a VM. Okay. And one physical machine, if you want to create VMs inside that, what you should do, you should install a virtualization software. What is a virtualization software technically called? It is called hypervisor. And who is a market leader in that? VMware is the company who is a market leader in that, and they have their product called EXXI, ESXi, right? And this is the product you see a lot of people using it on your workstation, or your workstation, laptop, all are interchangeable words. on your laptop or your workstation, you want to create VMs, then you have uh, uh, a virtualization software like Oracle VirtualBox, with which you can create VMs. These kind of softwares are called as desktop virtualization software. Okay. Why it is called desktop virtualization? Because first is it's a desktop. Second thing is you already have an operating system running. On top of it, you are installing this software. Whereas here, a physical system is taken, there is no OS running. We didn't install any Windows, Linux, or anything. We have installed a OS called hypervisor, right? This kind of virtualization is called full virtualization. You do it like this, it is called full virtualization. Or if you already have a OS running, on top of it, you want to run it, those are called as desktop virtualization software. Okay. So this is how, you go to any company, you'll see the systems will be there. The next step to this is basically cloud. Okay. Uh, so I think I'll leave it here. The continuation of this I'll do it tomorrow. Any quick questions here, guys? Anyone? I think
Hello,
any.
sir.
Yeah.
As I asked before, what will be the system requirement as we have to use the virtual machine which take up lot of resources.
No. See, that is the point where actually I'm coming. You don't need any additional system or anything. If you have your laptop with 8 GB of RAM or even 4 GB is also okay. 8 GB if you have, it is more than enough for us. The reason is whatever we do uh, tools as part of this course, those are not heavy kind of tools. Those are very, very lightweight kind of tools. So you don't really need some very big systems and all that. Only the initial part of it you will be doing on your laptop. Later, what we do is we move to the cloud. Okay, so no need for you to buy any new system and all that kind of stuff. Making sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, guys.
And
Yeah.
when we will go to the cloud, do we have to buy credits for the monthly subscription or something for the cloud?
No. What we will do is, see, in case of AWS, what they do is, for a year when you are newly opening your account, there are few services which are given free to you. Okay. So we'll try to use that, and only for one, two things, little bit charge it might come, but that also we'll see that it will be very, very less for you. So you don't need to buy any subscriptions or other things. Rather, the approach is different. When I come to AWS, you'll not spend any huge amount on anything, even there also. Okay.
Ravi, last question. Can we expect DevOps with Microsoft Azure, in the coming days? The post completion of this or something.
No, see, if there are two options. One is the way Azure is having a DevOps tools, right? Similarly, AWS also has that, and that is what I mentioned, that code build, code pipeline, and all that.
Yeah.
So what is happening is there are two kind of approaches people take. One is either you can use something like a Jenkins, which you can use it across different kind of infrastructure. It could be used on your on-prem or your Azure or AWS or GCP anywhere, or else cloud centric kind of a tools also use it, right? So if your company, you are a primarily you are a AWS kind of a cloud, then you will use AWS DevOps tools. If you
Okay.
are having your Azure also is your main cloud, then they might use the Azure DevOps kind of tools, because it's easy to configure. Just that it is easy to configure on the same cloud, right? So what I'll say is it should not really matter much whether you are using Azure pipelines or AWS pipelines. But even at that learning curve is pretty straightforward. The way you do it on AWS, similarly you'll do it on Azure also. It's just that which cloud the company is using.
Okay.
That is why one Jenkins we have put it so that you can use it across all your platforms.
Okay.
All right. All right. I
Sir,
think.
coming to AWS, we will cover load balancers and auto scaling topics also, sir.
Yeah. Didn't you guys go through the syllabus, guys? You did, right? Didn't you get the syllabus, every one of you?
Yes, I think we have got this. The entire
Yeah.
syllabus.
You should see the syllabus, right? Right. Yeah. All right, guys. I think we'll continue it from here. I'll leave this diagram here. I'll continue from this point tomorrow. And I'll give a little bit one more half an hour thing about Linux stuff, and from maybe Monday we'll start our first class, with our syllabus. All right, guys. Talk to you all
Sure.
tomorrow then. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.